Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, intuitive coach and founder of the Awakened Goddess Academy. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Sofia Sundari is an international Tantra teacher. She writes, coaches, facilitates courses on mystical femininity and tantric and Taoist sexuality. In her work, Sofia empowers people to question the status quo, align with their spirit, and expand into erotic freedom. Sofia creates a space in which our darkness is no longer shameful, and it nourishes our light, where spirituality and sexuality are one. She spent 5 years in Asia studying the secrets of Tantra and Taoism. Now she offers retreats and private sessions in Europe, Bali, USA, Australia, and Russia. Now let's welcome Sofia. Welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show, where we co-create powerful conscious conversations on the leading edge. Today I have Sofia joining me, and we're going to be talking about the path of the feminine mystic. So welcome, Sofia.
Hi, Angela, and hi, everyone. Very happy and honored to be here with you.
Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Because we haven't talked about sexuality on the show yet. I know something that you're really passionate about is mystical femininity and the path of the feminine mystic. So can you explain or describe what that means to you?
Yes. Well, mystical femininity generally, it's a project that I developed, and it started because I really felt the need to connect with my deep feminine wisdom. And I felt that I never learned this. No one ever taught me those things. No one ever taught me how to connect to my femininity, how to be in tune with my natural cycles, how to be in tune with my natural wisdom, and what is this feminine body, and what are those feminine body parts? Is it just physiological differences that differentiate us from men, or does it have some kind of deeper wisdom? I kind of had all those questions, and I felt lots of disconnection actually from women. Mm-hmm. I felt quite a lot of judgment around for myself and for other women, and I saw how I couldn't really trust women for a long time. And then I started seeing that because I don't trust other women, it actually showed me that I don't trust myself. I don't trust my innermost nature. I don't mm-hmm. trust that woman inside of me. I prefer to function in like normal ways people function. I don't know, have a normal job and kind of do all the normal things and be disconnected, then kind of stay with what is there and accept it and trust it and be with my emotions and be with my craziness and be with my wildness. This was really scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I started tapping into that, and then I started doing more and more feminine practices. I started with yoga and tantra, and then I started really seeing that that's a feminine approach that I want and that I'm lacking. And then I started bringing it into my life, and then eventually I started teaching, and then I created the project of Mystical Femininity, where we just, it all started with lots of sacred dance, where through dance, like the Shakti, the feminine energy, just flows mm-hmm. so naturally for us as women, and then through dance we see how, it looks like we're moving the hips, but in fact, what we're moving is our vagina, is the Yoni, like this is where the movement is starting. And then we can actually tune into those sacred places and actually feel the sacredness of those places, which is not so addressed usually. We see it as a reproductive organ, as something we use for sex or something like this, but we never normally see it as a sacred place. And so in the mystical femininity tradition, we learn to honor the sacredness of our femininity, of our organs, of our wisdom, of our intuition, of the wisdom of our emotions too. And so there's always like this question about, how can I go deeper? How can I open how can I open more? Because we see everything, every situation, every emotion, every happening as a gateway to our deeper self.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you talk about that it's not our hips that we're moving, it's our yoni. I had never thought about that before, and I love that. And so let's talk more about these doorways, these gateways.
In the tantric and Taoist tradition, we see the yoni as the gateway, you know, as the that path through which everyone came here.
Mm-hmm.
It's the gate through which we all came, right? We all came from a vagina, after all. And even in Tantra and Taoism, they even see the poetic side of those things, and they see how actually it's that place from where everything came. This is the gateway to the universe, that it's like all of life originated from the cosmic yoni, that the yoni is the symbol of the cosmos, of the universe. It's like that incredible place from where it all starts, the source also. You know, yoni is often translated as the source. So it's like we can see it as the source of life, the source of our own selves. And as women, so it's so important for us as women to tune into the yoni, because if we're tuning into the yoni, as we're working with the yoni, we're tuning into our own source. I see how, in my own case, in the case of the women that I'm working with, how many of the things, you know, we don't accept them, or we don't address them, or we don't think they're important enough. They are not going anywhere. They're staying for yoni, you know. Through the yoni, through working with the yoni, we can access things which we thought they were long gone, or we didn't notice, or we didn't acknowledge, because the yoni is super receptive. You know, she receives also. She's like, if women are receptive, you know, we sense everything, we're sensitive, we feel changes in people's moods or changes in environment, and we are kind of very intuitive naturally. Yeah? Then the yoni, she is the place which determines us as women. Yeah, so it's like she is the most receptive part of ourselves. And so if we are receptive, then the yoni is 10 times like it's the source of the receptivity within us. And so anything, like all the emotions, anything that was not accepted or not processed or not acknowledged, they are actually really still there. And through working with the yoni, we can really unleash lots of power through just releasing those emotions, releasing those energies that are maybe stuck there.
Wow. Wow. So it's a very, it's like the seat of our power, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and I can definitely see how we can trap those emotions and the feelings and the unprocessed stuff there. That's because that's our second chakra, and that's like houses our creativity, our sexuality. Let's talk about the disconnection that we have as like as women to our yoni and our power. Because I think it was really interesting when you said that you didn't trust other women, and how it was a reflection of you not trusting yourself. So let's talk about this disconnect.
Yes, and also I want to make a kind of note here, because you know it seems like, oh, it's like it stores all those things, and how come it's powerful? But actually, we learn to see that as we go into the places which are unpresent and maybe dark, we see that our power is there. You know, as we start owning it, acknowledging that, then actually through that we access our light. Yeah.
That's so true. And I just want to interrupt you just for a second, because I remember doing some transformational healing work, and I would have a very strong arousal sensation at certain times when I would have like a big release of some old stuff. It was interesting because my body was responding, and I would find myself really aroused, and I was like, wow, why is that happening? But now this is all making sense.
Generally, you know, in regards to sexuality, and it's equally true for men too, that generally we are just not encouraged from the young age to go and understand what is sexuality. You know, I was just remembering, like, I think I was 5 years old when I asked my parents, and actually I already kind of had an idea, but I asked just to see what they're going to tell me. I asked them, what is sex?
The
Have you
question
asked?
that all parents don't want to hear.
Yeah, have you asked your parents something like that? So what they answered was ridiculous. I don't even remember, but I remember it was just completely ridiculous. Even for me as a 5-year old, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And so we grew up in a society where no one speaks about sex. There's just such a loud silence. And
Hmm.
that's why there's a thick, thick layer of shame that's covering this whole sexuality thing, right? We
Hmm.
speak about our face, we speak about our, uh, I don't know, we can look at our hands and touch our hands and go for foot massage or something, but we never go for genital massage normally, right? Or something.
Right. Well, and it's even illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you imagine like such a degree of shame? So no one speaks, no one addresses, and or maybe if we speak quietly into some very, very trusted friends, or maybe some people they never even speak about it, or they get traumatized and they don't even want to see it or touch it, or they think they're ugly in their genitals or something like this. So that's why the disconnect starts from just lack of information and lack of light in our society.
Hmm.
And where generally we get our education is porn. And this is ridiculous because what they present in porn is only like 2% to do with what the sexuality is about, actually.
That's true. I mean, they do all sorts of things to um, sanitize in a way, uh, make pretty, or
Yes.
the
Yeah.
bodies, and the focus is all on the bodies, and it's very not authentic,
Yes.
not an intimate, deep connection.
Yes. Exactly. And also with that, there was a whole kind of fixation on the body, but not a fixation, not a kind of healthy, because it's good to love your body, but it's
Hmm.
like this fixation about how it should look and kind of presenting this whole photoshopped or post-produced images to us. It just creates people, like it makes us stress. It makes us stress and start thinking a lot about how we look and how we should be different than relaxing into our erotic nature, because eroticism is natural. That's why when I was 5, I was asking, and that's why most of the people, when they're 3, they start touching themselves
Hmm.
because it's totally natural. You look at kids or babies; they are so erotic. The way they open up, the way they lay down, the way they communicate with others, the way they come for hugs. It's so naturally erotic and so beautiful.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's nothing dirty or shameful about it. But then, as we grow older, we start to kind of pick up those ideas. What is it proper? What is appropriate? What is shameful? What is dirty? What is not? And then this whole disconnection starts happening. And then, of course, it will amplify by any kind of criticism we may hear from people who are also have no education, don't understand anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
So it's perpetuated.
yes, big time.
Hmm. Well, and then when you carry that into a relationship, it's challenging to have true intimacy and be able to express yourself fully in a sexual relationship because you're holding so much of your energy in, trying to cover up or protect or hide, or hide all those bits that we don't like.
Exactly. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. And there is nothing as liberating. I mean, yeah, this is a huge liberation, or even I can call it a liberator, a lover or a partner who is sexually free, or who is owning and who is at peace with their own sexuality. Because also with the partners we open up so much, and then if they suddenly tell us that something is wrong with us, normally it's coming from their own shame,
Hmm.
from their own unpresence and like disconnect and things like this. And then how amazing it is to be with someone who fully accepts themselves. Then they will fully accept ourselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, in my early 20s, that um, feeling that with embodied within a man, like he was more comfortable with his sexuality than I was. And so I remember, like, I'd have this feeling in my body where I was really scared because it was like I could feel that power, and I was not yet comfortable with my own sexuality, my body, and so it was like I was not able to meet him because I was holding so much, or I was so afraid of, you know, letting go, or letting that part of myself out, I suppose.
Yes. And this, like also opposite it can be. For example, there is this book called Vaginal Monologues by Eve Ensler. Have you read that book?
No, I
It's
haven't.
really great. It's like it's really after reading this book, I think like years back, I really started to realize that women have vaginas, like not just have it like, oh, vagina, like a part of a female body, but actually together with the vagina there comes such a history, there comes
Mm.
such a huge identity, and not only from our lifetime but also from like centuries, because we also carry this in our field of consciousness, in the feminine field of consciousness, we also carry those things.
Mhm. Mhm.
She gives a beautiful, I mean, she gives many incredible stories and examples of how women relate to their vaginas, and mostly there is trauma and disconnect. And one story, for example, really touched me. There was a woman, she was a young girl, she was like 17 or something, and she was making out with a guy in his new car, and then she got so aroused, she got so excited, so her juices started gushing. And those juices, they are actually fantastic. Like in Tantra, we call it Amrita, divine nectar. So
Mhm.
it's actually a manifestation of sexual energy. It's actually quite a fascinating thing that a woman can do. It's like this paranormal power almost.
Nice.
And then she starts gushing this, and it's not smelly, it's completely transparent. But he didn't know what it is. So he thought that she's peeing herself, or some strange liquid is coming out of her. And so he told her that she is a dirty, stinky girl, and that she should get out of his car because she spoiled his car, and
Mm.
things like that. And then she got so ashamed, and she didn't know what happened to her. But since then, she never touched herself ever again, and she never allowed any other man touch her.
Wow.
So imagine, and then she was taking the author was taking this interview when this woman, she was like in her 70s. Imagine, and then all life.
Mm.
So this complete lack of education, complete lack of understanding, lack of openness to seeing what is this unknown, what is this thing that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, such power in shame. I mean, shame will just like make us hide and play
Yeah,
small and really
paralyzed. Yeah.
paralyze. That's a great word. Yeah, so how do you work with women to release that shame? Because we're all carrying some bits of shame, some more than others.
Yeah. Well, the one and only cure to shame is love.
Mm.
We really just need to really learn to love ourselves, and self-love should start with the body, I believe, because this is really that tangible place that we see every day, that we identify, very often so strongly with. And especially to love ourselves as women, we need to learn to love our Yoni.
Mm-hmm.
And love her, not just accept her, but love her for the amazing place that she is, and really perform those rituals for her, like where we are worshiping her, where we are seeing her beauty, the true beauty.
So when you say worship, I can hear like some people like getting uncomfortable with that because receptivity for a lot of us is uncomfortable. So when you talk about worship, can you be a little bit more specific?
Yeah, well, there are different ways to worship, and I'm coming from the tantric tradition. So, in the tantric tradition, there are very abundant and explicit ways of worshiping the yoni, and sometimes even just with symbols. We take a symbol of a yoni, and then we offer flowers, and we offer liquids, and we kind of create, and we sing to that symbol, and like offer our love and adoration in whichever form we feel like.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to go that far, because I understand that for some people it might be way too out there or something.
Yeah, having a yoni sit on their desk.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, or you can do, yeah, so but mostly it's about like really connecting with your own yoni, and like getting it as a habit to touch her, and touch her in a very loving way, and touch her, and take a mirror and look at her, and tell her, give her praises, tell her how beautiful she is, and really establish this strong relationship with the yoni, like speak to her and tell her that you are the guardian of your gate, and you will never allow anything that doesn't feel right to enter into her, something like
Mm-hmm.
this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is also an act of worship, we can say. It's an act of acknowledging the power, acknowledging the beauty. And then it may be in whichever form you feel like. We actually do whole rituals, yeah, where women in my groups, where women are actually performing something on their own yoni, and like connecting with their yoni, and feeling into their yoni, and like allowing her speak, also listening, learning to listen to your yoni, because she does have things to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think like maybe taking a bath, and that would be a nice way, a gentle, easy way for you to build that relationship, I'm guessing. I actually took a bath earlier today. So it's interesting with this show. I'm always tapping into the energy of the guests that are on the show. And so it just dawned on me now that maybe that's why I was inspired to take a bath this morning. Because I rarely will take a bath, in the morning.
It's a nice way to actually honor yourself. Why not
Yeah.
take a bath in the morning? This is great.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you find is the most challenging for women to get through? Like what is the most common block that you find when it comes to developing this relationship with themselves, their yoni, their sexuality, their sensuality?
Well, there are a few different things, but I find that first and foremost is this need for control. You know,
Mm,
we live in a society which is highly masculinized, and this control is a very, very masculine quality, and it is not bad inherently it's not bad, because if we didn't have control at all, maybe everything would go completely crazy and wild. Yeah, we need some rules, we need some regulations, but the problem is that those masculine values, they need to be balanced with the feminine values, with the values of surrender and love and openness. Yeah, and so now living in the masculine world, and many women, they tend to get very stiff in their body, controlled in their mind, and kind of becoming very frozen. The heart's becoming frozen. The shame is somewhere there. We like our body becomes tense because we don't give space to our emotions. We don't give space to our bodies, to our expression, to our just life.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Don't give space to life within ourselves. And so I see that this is very often a big block for modern women, this controlling side. When if we drop the control, if we just learn to like be more present with yourself, give yourself time, give yourself space, give yourself time to just sit and breathe and do nothing, because we also think that if we are not doing, we are kind of wasting our time or something.
mm-hmm,
Actually, it's such a big kind of treasure is in just being. We are not human doings, yeah, we're human beings. So it's really about like surrendering into that being for us, and seeing that we are, again, we are inherently erotic, we are inherently fluid, we are inherently open. It's just all the things we put on top of that. This
mm-hmm,
is what's blocking us.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so for those of us who, because this is definitely a challenge that I've had in the past, and I know that a lot of people, I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, and so control is a big thing, and slowing down is challenging. I mean, it's like I have to, instead of a list of things to do, I have to create a list of, play,
Not
have fun. Which is like crazy. And then it's like yeah, when you find yourself in that doing mode, the busy busy busy, um how do you create that space to ha- to be in a space of being, and a place of receptivity and tapping into the divine feminine. How do you create space for that when it's almost like an addiction?
Mm, yeah. Well, first of all, you just tell yourself that you are worth it.
Mm.
Because many people, they just don't do it because deep down they believe they cannot, they're just not worth of just taking some time just fully by themselves. Just, if there are kids, then you can ask your friend to look after your kid. And there are always things, if there is a will, there is a way. There is always things that we can reorganize. We always have 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It's just a matter of that commitment and the will, and this seeing that we are worth it. And then I find that it's really important to find the places which are nourishing you. Because if we live in the city really takes a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to find those, either go to events or go in nature, best to go to events in nature, which are nourishing, which are where you have space to just be, not to do so much, not to kind of get programmed even more than you are, because we're so fucking programmed already.
Yeah.
Like actually more like find places where you can just be and guided maybe a little bit, but more like places which are nourishing, which allow yourself, and take it as something essential, because if we don't have enough, if we are not nourished, we don't have anything to give.
It's so true. Yeah, you end up giving your life force away.
Yeah, and then you just don't have it, and actually by not looking after yourself, you are stealing from those around you,
Hmm.
because only when you're full, then you can really give.
Yeah.
So I find that this is really important thing to tune into yourself and make that commitment that yes, I want to do that. Yes, I want to live fully. Yes, I want to be the radiant source of light that everyone will be charging from, but only when I am full myself. And then actually it doesn't take any of my energy. It's just because just from who you are, it's already nourishing for people to be around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's so magnetic too. It's like, um, uh, I find that when I'm able to relax into my femininity, my sensuality, and just like play and have fun and just be, then it's like people show up. Guys will start flirting with me, and opportunities just, it's like synchronistic things happen.
Yes. Absolutely. I get this feedback all the time from women in my courses when they start to really like cultivate their practice. They really feel like they come into that alignment with themselves, with their yoni is awake, their yoni is alive. They learn to, be present with everything that's going on within them, and kind of just give space to themselves, honor their body. They're like, just I get this feedback all the time that people just say, "Hey, like I'm so magnetic. I feel like guys are just falling in love with me." Like, how did that happen? Of course, and there's also a yogic trick to that, because as you mentioned, the second chakra, the sacral chakra, or sexual chakra, Svadhisthana chakra, where like the sexuality is related to the chakra, and actually one of the keys, one of the qualities of awakened second chakra is magnetism.
That seems like for many of us, a very untapped place of power or self empowerment, really.
Yes, in Taoism, they used to those kind of sexual practices, they used to be available only to members of royal families. They were only for emperors and empresses, and they were hidden from just average human beings. They were hidden from kind of normal population, because they knew that if they cultivate such intense power, they
Mm.
open up to such a deep power within themselves. So they didn't want normal people to have it. They only wanted it for the kings and queens.
The special ones.
Yes.
So, how do I'm curious about, because we've had sacred prostitutes in history. How does this relate to what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, it's a great question, and sacred prostitutes, they were women who were, yeah, there's lots of myths and lots of stories about them, and from what I know about them is that there were women who were highly empowered, highly awakened women who knew that if a man would spend some time with them, this man will also get awakened and his
Mm.
powers will be stimulated and awakened. And also there were women who were dancers, devadasis in India. They were just dancing for God, and they were dancing in the temples, and they were constantly like cultivating their powers as well. And they were allowed to be with a man only for 3 days. Only for 3 days they could be with a man. After that, it was considered that then it becomes an attachment, and then
Mm.
all the kind of conditioning comes into play. But yes, they had those practices where they would be with a man and initiate them and then let them go and let him be the hero that he is. But then there would be this woman who would kind of pass this on, something on to him just by making love with him, just by being with him. Yeah.
So, and we all have that power within.
Exactly. Women have been initiating men for centuries. I'm actually, next year, I'm launching this project, the Priestess School, where I want women to remember those powers and that we are doing it a lot, but we can be more conscious about it. And even now, you have your project, which is mostly for women, right?
Hmm.
And then there are so many projects, and in yoga classes, it's mostly women. So the awakening is happening mostly for women. And so now women have to share it with men as well. Just not that we need to drag our man to the yoga if he doesn't want to,
Hmm.
but just by being with him, just by being fully who you are, we can initiate the man.
Yeah.
Just sometimes saying a word or two, they get initiated from us.
It's so true. It's so true. And there are several men that do watch the show. And so, hi, all you guys out there. Thanks for joining us. And we adore you for being on the path. So, I think that leads perfectly into a question that I know that so many spiritual women are dying to know, and that's how do we attract an evolved man, a man that is in his power and is um, on a similar path that we are.
Yes. Oh, such a question. Because so many women, they say, I'm doing all this practice. I'm just so like striving to awaken and everything. And then all the people that I attract, they're just not there. Like, I just don't know what to talk to them about. We're just on such different levels.
Yes.
Well, actually, it's quite fascinating to me, and I see it in my own life and in life of those around me, that actually in yoga there is this really amazing law. It's called the law of resonance.
Mm-hmm. Great law.
Yes, and it just works. This just works, and it's like as we really come into alignment with our spirit, as we come into really that place of awakening within ourselves, and we stabilize. Because sometimes we have experiences and we feel, oh wow, yeah, my consciousness really expands. But then, as we stabilize in that, we see that we are actually getting more and more anchored in our truth. And then the
Mm-hmm.
people that are around us, they start reflecting that. You don't even need to go look for them. You don't need to kind of search or, I don't know, put ads like, oh, spiritual people, I need you or something.
It's true.
You are the ad, like you start to have that resonance, that vibration. Your vibration changes, and then people with similar vibrations, they will start coming into your field. So it's like attracts like, and it really works that way. So instead of like worrying about where to find a man, how to find a man, what kind of man is good for me, just keep working on your own vibration, keep doing your own work, and when you're ready, you will know exactly why you had to wait if you're waiting at the moment.
Yeah, and that's true. I have a program, a Love Spark program about attracting someone, and it's yes, it doesn't
Mm,
matter where. I mean, you can meet him
yes.
anywhere, him or her. Um, you don't have to go on the dating sites, like you say. It's truly like you said, it's that resonance. And I think that it's really important what you pointed out about how we're on our own journey, and there are times that we're kind of growing quickly, and you really don't want to meet someone at that time because you're going to the next level. And I think that we have to embrace that and surrender to that, and just allow that we need to get, like you say, get to that place where we're kind of settled.
Yes. I love what you're saying. And again, we're coming to that control, how we can release control here as well. If you want to attract that person who is really in the resonance of you, you need to let go of the control and let that softer part of you, that part that can be patient, that part that allows space for the person to come into your field. Because if we're constantly controlled and we're searching and pushing our energy, then he cannot come in. So we need to relax and soften, and then the space will open.
Well, and that's so true that if we're looking for something in particular, it might not be the right person for us. And we can miss the perfect person because we're so in this idea that they have to look a certain way. Because the perfect person might not be on their so-called spiritual journey in the way that you think that they would be on their journey.
Exactly. Some people who don't consider themselves spiritual, they might be more spiritual than others who do tons of yoga or meditation or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's truly an embodiment of your divine essence. And I know that that's what you talk about, your divine essence, quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Well, basically, to me, divine essence, we all have divine essence, it's not going anywhere. If you don't see it, if you don't speak about it or feel into it every day, it doesn't mean that you don't have it, because we all have it. It's at the very core of our being. We are divine beings. And basically, our core, our essence is completely pure, is completely whole, there's nothing wrong at all with our very core. It's just all the things we put on top to hide it, like we veiled it with all the conditioning and shame and judgment that we pick up on the way. But in the very core of us, we don't need any self-improvement or nothing, because we are absolutely whole and pure, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of talk about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and we all have both of those energies within. And I think it's a matter of us learning what is the right balance for us individually.
Hmm. Well, it's actually quite interesting, the whole masculine and feminine topic within ourselves, because we all have both masculine and the feminine, and of course divine masculine, divine feminine, and ultimately, like the feminine within us is we can say there are two levels. Yeah, one level is just kind of on the horizontal level, the masculine and the feminine, and then on the vertical level also the feminine and the masculine. And then let's say on the horizontal level, it's the feminine is the part of us that knows how to be soft, how to how to be, just how to surrender, how to open. And on the masculine, it's more about doing. We know how to do, how to achieve, how to control. And then on the vertical, and we have both, we all have both. And then actually, it's very interesting that even in our relationships with our other human beings, they also, like, there's not just one on one, but actually there's two on two. So there's, we can say there's four of us.
Yeah. Yeah, so and that's what makes it fun and complicated.
Yeah. And then also there is the vertical, where the divine feminine is that manifestation, that everything basically, the Shakti in Tantra we call her, the universe, basically everything that's manifest is that divine feminine. And then divine masculine is the space, is that awareness, that pure awareness, where there is just give space, the container for the universe to be. Yeah, so for the energies to be. So it's like we have the room, and inside the room there is objects, there's people, there's energies. And so this is the feminine, the objects and the energies, and the masculine is that which gives space to all that.
Really? See, I thought I would have thought it was the complete opposite. That it was the feminine that was holding space, and that the so that's fascinating.
Well, see, on the horizontal way, the feminine is the one, yeah, that is soft, that can surrender. So it's like in kind of, yeah, so here we can also say that she gives space because she's soft. Yeah, and on the horizontal masculine is the one who is doing. So
Mm.
yeah, it's models, again, it's
Yeah.
different models, and it's like quite useful to see them, to understand, but eventually models are models.
Right, right.
Nothing more than that.
Well, and then there's the shadow aspect of both as well. The
Hmm.
shadow aspect of um, the masculine and the feminine, and so that's where like the controlling is, and
Yeah,
where can you talk about that, the shadow aspects?
yeah. Yeah. Well, the shadow aspect, of course, of the masculine is, you see, where it's like ultimately it will be like despotism. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, like where it's like so much control, where there's no space, no softness, there's no spontaneity. It's just control. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's just harsh, just very harsh. And the ultimate feminine is so much receptivity, so they feel so much, so they become like kind of delirious.
That sounds like it would be fun every once in a while.
Well, it's
Pure
fun.
bliss.
Well, it's fun as long as you stay present with it. Once you cannot be present with it, then it's like patients of psychiatric hospitals.
Oh.
They are way, way, way too feminine because they sense so much. And lots of the things they sense, they are real, but they just get overreactive to them, and then
Mm-hmm.
they go crazy. If you see that, okay, maybe I tend to get overly emotional out of nothing. Yeah, this is like it looks like I'm too much in my feminine, and I'm really unconscious there, and I'm just I don't know, I'm raging and I'm like getting hysterical out of nothing. Then okay, maybe you can presence that and see and start owning that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
So
quite
that,
tough to actually see that and own that.
yeah, so that would be kind of like a complete state of feeling, and no logical thought behind
Yeah, yeah.
it.
Yeah. And then the shadow is actually very powerful to say, hey, you know what? Sometimes I'm a controlling bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Or other times I'm just a hysterical like woman that has no order and just cannot listen to what other people tell her, and like just goes on blaming and stuff. And it's like it's quite powerful to say, yes, I have that in me. And then once you name it, once you own it, then you actually can see if you want to go there or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I think too often we try to avoid the shadow, where there's so much richness and so much growth that we can expand into if we're willing to look at the shadow aspects, because we all have them. We all have those tendencies, and so yeah, it's a good practice to embrace them and not be afraid of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So, talking about, you had mentioned that you didn't trust other women. Now, I want to go back to or talk about the opposite, where, say, a woman and a man are in a relationship or dating, and he is really embodying his sexuality, and she is as well. But I want to talk more about the trust piece.
I see that there are different stages that women are in, and very often when we are just starting kind of working on ourselves, or when we are kind of getting to that place where we start owning our emotions, our feelings, and we kind of come more into that conscious place, it's really, really powerful to have a partner who provides us a very, very safe container.
Mm-hmm.
where we can speak very honestly with each other, where we really start trusting each other and like really having that container. And even if, because we also need to address this, because we are human beings, and it's very rare that that there are two people that are together and they are not attracted to anyone else.
Right.
It's kind of unnatural, you know. Recently, I saw an article. They said that actually monogamy is more advanced, but it's unnatural. Like polyamory is more natural thing, because naturally we are attracted to others. Like it's like this is how life plays through us.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then if it's a monogamous relationship, then they can still address those things. Hey, I feel attraction for that, or just be honest. And then maybe you don't need to act on that. And very often you don't need to act on that, but just kind of bring it in the relationship, and then constantly show that you are still there for each other. Even though maybe there is an attraction or something else going on, then you're still there for each other. Yeah, so this is like one scenario, and this is really, really important for all of us to have it at a phase of our life, or maybe always or something. But then I see that there is another phase where the woman and the man, we all can just develop that deep, deep trust in the divine, trust in the source, where the other human beings, I don't know, your partners, friends, or whoever, it's not so much about them. It's not that you trust them, but you trust the God in them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then you know that whatever experience you're going through, it's all guided by the Great One. That even though maybe there is a situation where, okay, maybe this happened, like you said, like the trust got broken, someone cheated on someone, and then you can see that, like, either you can go into like blaming yourself or blaming the other, and maybe it can, maybe of course there will be emotions and stuff, but then you can recognize that actually even that is guided by divine. And so this experience was important for you to live through, and you can grow through it tremendously, even faster than if you had this perfectly safe container which your mind wanted.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, it's much more safe and that goes back to that control piece, when we feel like we're in control, and we're like our partner is staying within the parameters, then we feel safe. And yes, I totally agree with you and believe that everything happens for a reason, and I trust to some degree in divine source, and my trust is definitely, I have some room to grow in this area.
well, absolute trust is incredible. It's like, it, yeah, it's really huge, of course. But it's like, as long as we see that we can, and of course there will be even moments, even if you have that general trust, still you might have those moments of turmoil. You might have those moments of and then it's good to also let yourself feel that, fully feel that, because these are also the doorways to yourself. Because through those intense emotions, you can also have those awakening experiences where you can just kind of drop deeper than those emotions. And suddenly sometimes there's a storm, like lots of stuff, and actually it's a little bit similar to, and I mean it's actually very, very similar to what happens to a woman with a very strong tantric orgasm. There can be a lot of energy, and then at the same time there's nothing. And there's emotion that can be and then at the same time there can be nothing, and then you can be present to the nothing, and can just have that experience of complete bliss.
Yeah. Wow. So much power. I mean, it's like we're not tapping into all of this power that we have at our disposal. It's incredible. Yeah. So how do you suggest that we cultivate a deeper connection with our own sexuality?
Well, I would say, for women, like the Yoni, you can start with the Yoni. Like really the things that we started talking about, like loving the Yoni, starting connecting with the Yoni, giving space to your yoni, listening to her, massaging her, like, there are all those things you can start doing. And also, maybe I can share like a practice of self-pleasure, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Where, normally how we look at self-pleasure is that, okay, we just rub our genitals, and same for men, men would just kind of see it as wanking or something, and then ejaculating in the end, and that's it.
Yeah.
Same for women, you kind of come to quick, like 5-second orgasm, and then that's it, and then you continue or something. But a self-pleasure experience can be an experience of self-love, of loving your body. So you can, especially for women, our sexual energy, it kind of flows from the arms, from the limbs to the genitals. So we really need to start by, like, I don't know, massaging even your face, your breasts, you touching your legs, your arms, and spreading that pleasure. And only when you feel very aroused and very open, then only touching the yoni, touching the clitoris, and then the vagina. And then on go, like, take good amount of time, like, if you can, like, take at least 30 minutes to 1 hour is perfect. And if you can, like, also what you did, take a bath first and relax, and then go to the room where it's nicely decorated, where you feel good and safe and no one's gonna interrupt you, and then come to that self-pleasure ritual where you really enjoy yourself, where you really connect with yourself, and you keep spreading that energy ongoing, like you keep like accessing and making it really an experience of self-love, and not aiming for a certain orgasmic experience or something that but being open to what can happen. Just touch, massage, love. That's the main, and then the same as you touch your genitals, like massaging them, loving them, enjoying them, and then opening space to what can happen, because you might get very surprised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And then,
when you stay in that place of allowing and openness, yeah, you never know what can happen.
yeah,
And it seems like it's really truly about connection,
yes.
connecting with ourselves and our going back to the self-love and the self-empowerment and really claiming our own power.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's coming to the place where we understand that we are worthy of being fully alive, being fully erotic, fully enjoying ourselves, enjoying our life, and maybe also, sometimes I feel like it's worth asking the question: what if I knew that my life is gonna end soon? Would I be living the same life or not? Would I be making the same choices or not? Or would I actually wanna enjoy more, love more, give more, celebrate more? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think these are the keys, really. And of course, it first of all starts with that commitment that, yes, I want to live fully, I want to love fully.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And those are such powerful questions that I think that we often get so busy that we keep those things to push to the side. And so thank you for bringing our awareness to these questions, these deeper questions that really help us tap into our life's purpose and our fulfillment and the pleasure. I mean, we're here to enjoy our life, not just work until we die.
Exactly.
There's a family friend who recently passed away, and he kept working. I mean, he was a workaholic. He did love his work, but he worked like he was supposed to work the day he passed away, and he had a sudden heart attack, and he was supposed to take retire in, I think, 1 or 3 months, and had a vacation planned. And so it's like you never know. And so yeah.
And the amazing thing is that the more you will notice that the more you access your pleasure, the more your sexuality is flowing, the easier your life flows, the easier it is for you to create, to manifest things that you want, because the energy is not blocked. Everything is energy, in tantric tradition, we see everything is energy, and money is energy, and wealth is energy, and sexuality is energy. And so sexuality is that core energy. So as it's flowing, once it's unleashed, once it's not stuck somewhere, it's just we have more resources and we can direct, and I see in my own life, I just manifest things so easily. Like it's pretty unbelievable. And I see it was not always like this.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. I used to be a lawyer back in the day, and it was not easy for me at all to achieve things I wanted. But now it's very very easy, and I see this is why. This is why, because I'm connecting to my sexual energy ongoing. And
Mm-hmm.
same. I My advice for everyone is that you have a sexual partner or not, it does not matter. It's yours, and it's in your hands to become the owner of your own sexuality and of your own life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that. So tell us about what Yoni yoga is.
Yes, I love this.
Because I think this is ties perfectly in. So.
Yes, of course, because this is a course. It's an online course which is evergreen, and it contains of 5 weeks, and you can do it entirely at your own pace. But it's kind of I divided it into 5 weeks, and it kind of works really well if you do it that way. And it's all about feminine sexuality and the Yoni egg practice. So the yoni egg is one of the tools we have from Taoism. Those people that I told you that they knew that sexual energy is so powerful, so they only kept it for emperors and empresses, all the practices. So this is one of the practices we have from them. And actually, in the course, there's quite a few practices that are unleashing our sexual energy, helping us work as our sexual energy, and also has amazing effects also on our hormonal balancing and our periods. Like I keep getting those feedback from women that their periods became just so small and so quick. Also because the energy is moving, and there are certain techniques that are specifically designed for that. And so we go week by week with lots of exercises, some lectures, and practice techniques and connect with the yoni, And I'm also teaching some self massage practices and breast, like for the yoni, and also breast massage. So it's a really, really powerful course for women, and I'm seeing some phenomenal results. And we're quite a big community of women. We also have a Facebook group where we connect. So. This is a great course,
Yeah.
which I really invite you to join, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, there'll be a link on the page, on the show page, so y'all can check that out. Because if you can't tell by this conversation, it's like you have all the power that you need inside of you. So this is a great way to tap into that. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Sofia, for joining me. This was an incredible conversation, and there were some surprises for me in there as well. And I really feel inspired to commit to my own practice of self-love and tapping into this power that's within. So, thank you.
Yes, oh, this is so great to hear. I want erotic liberation for this human race. I really
Yes.
want it because I see how we become more free, we become more happy, and it just becomes a much more joyful place to be.
Yes. Well, that's one aspect of becoming an awakened goddess. So it's perfect. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I hope you enjoyed today's guest and got something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at theawakenedgoddess.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.